All right, guys, welcome to Muay Thai Guys podcast, episode number 101 with Muay Thai athlete Paul Banasiak and Muay Thai guy Sean Fagan, coming fresh off of a win here in Samui. We just had Sean had his second fight here in Thailand since moving back on his goal to trying to get 10 fights in the next few months. And it was a really exciting week. So we're going to recap the week, and we're also going to go over some ways that you can save money in Thailand. We have our camp switching over. So we just had a month of training with a number of people from all over the world coming into Diamond Muay Thai here on the island. And then they're going to be leaving, unfortunately, after making some beautiful memories. And then we have a whole new set of fighters and practitioners of Muay Thai coming in for the next month. And as we're switching over, we have a nice fresh start. And we're going to be going over ways to save money while you're here in Thailand. As they're coming in, I see them making some of the mistakes where they're losing money in some places where they don't really have to. So we're going to try to help you guys save some money while you're here. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, dude. I'm not sure if satisfied is the right word, but I'm content with the fact that I won my fight. My body's been healing up a little bit. I still have a little bit bumps and bruises from some of his kicks and knees, but for the most part, I feel pretty good. Really motivated to get back into training, and especially with this new group coming in, I feel like there's going to be a whole new sense of energy and motivation from everybody trying to really just dig in and grind away. And so it'll be good to just join that group right away and get right back into some hardcore training.
Yeah, you for the first, not for the first time, but there was definitely a shift in energy after this fight. Do you feel like you just earned it and then you just have a big weight off of your chest because you seem super, super chilled out? Maybe, I don't know if you're smoking more weed recently, but now that the fight is done, but like, I don't know. You seem very just happy. Like that's the best word to put it, is that you seem happy or you seem at peace.
Yeah, I think there's a variety of emotions I've been reflecting on. Like I said, I'm very happy that I won, but I also see a lot of room for improvement, and so that also motivates me though, because I know what I need to work on now. Not that I didn't know what I needed to work on before, but it's just highlighted a little bit more. It's emphasized more. Like he was able to kind of instill his will on me in certain parts of the fight. And like, I want to win fights. Like, obviously I want to win fights by KO, but I want to win fights like more dominantly. I felt like I took some unnecessary damage. I got caught with a good elbow, a couple of good knees, a couple of good kicks. I got caught with a couple of good of everything, you know? And my goal when I fight is to be a complete fucking unstoppable force. And that fight, I didn't feel that unstoppable. And I was getting a little tired towards the end of the fourth round. And when I knocked him out, man, with that uppercut, it was just a huge weight lifted off my shoulders that I didn't have to continue fighting because I was getting so fucking tired.
Yeah.
And once I landed that, it's like when you hit a home run in baseball, you don't feel the ball hit the bat at all. And that's how my uppercut felt on his chin. I didn't feel it at all, but I saw him drop, and the way he dropped, I knew the fight was over. And yeah, it was a great fight. I know the guy was a former ranked Lumpinee fighter not too long ago, so that gives me a little boost of confidence. And yeah, I am happy. I am content, but I don't know. I think I'm just okay with any result now, regardless if I win or lose, because I know that I'm doing the work. I'm doing what I love to be doing, and there's not as much pressure out here in Thailand. There's not as much pressure as fighting back in the States. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so
100%.
it just allows me to just be more free, be more myself, and being surrounded by a lot of like-minded people who are my friends now, who look up to me for inspiration. That always drives me and motivates me too. So I'm really excited to get back in the ring and make it 2 for 2 this 2 camps. And yeah, 10 fights for this year is a very optimistic goal, but I'm going to keep shooting for it, and hopefully I'll get to it. But as long as I keep winning, keep fighting, and keep improving, that's the main thing I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think that fighting here is a lot less personal, I guess, than it is back home. Uh, you just get to enjoy it with your friends, with your family being the gym and those that you're surrounded by, the training partners, versus back home in the States. It just seems like everyone is involved, everyone has their opinion. Um, you know, coming from the commentators all the way into, um, the media that's surrounded by the fights that you may have, at least if you're on the bigger promotions. But even then, like the depending on the region that you're from, like New York versus whatever other state that may be coming in, Jersey, it just gets a lot more personal. Versus here, it feels like it's a checkpoint. Okay, I got to test my skills, and then you move on to the next fight, which could be the next week. And that's another beautiful thing, is that you can just hop right in. You're not being stopped by doctors and all the red tape that comes with fighting in the States and fighting back home. It's a huge relief.
Yeah, there's just not, yeah, like you said, there's not as much red tape. It's easier to fight out here. There's just less things to worry about and do leading up to a fight. Where back at home, there's so many things that you have to do prior to the fight, and here it's just a part of the culture, the part of the way of life. And another great thing is that, like, we rented a pretty baller ass villa on Koh Samui as a team, and all 13, 14 of us were just hanging out and like having that energy leading into the fight and having everyone come with us and everyone just be there really does help with the motivation and the inspiration to really perform. And then afterwards, being able to let it all sink in with everybody around and enjoy,
Yeah.
just life is a beautiful thing. And like, we were able to hang out by the pool all day, take some fun pictures and that kind of stuff. And those memories are hard to replicate. And I'm very thankful to be able to be doing this kind of stuff and having all of these people from all over the world come here to train specifically with us when they have thousands of other Muay Thai gyms to choose from. They choose to come here. And so, yeah, I'm just very, I guess one thing after this fight, maybe the energy that you've noticed is that I'm just extremely grateful, man. Like, this life that I'm living is amazing. And I have worked hard and made a lot of sacrifices to it, but I also feel extremely lucky to be in the position I'm in. So I'm just letting that kind of sink in. And it's hard not to be happy and appreciative when I realize I'm living my dream.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to do sometimes, because you're always inspiring and aspiring to do bigger and better things. So it feels kind of difficult to be grateful at the same time, be critical of yourself, to improve. But being grateful to stop for a second and just appreciate the moment. I mean, that's why we do it in the end. And there's so many people, like whether it's in Hollywood, these high level performers that get to that point and they don't find that happiness like, oh, if I have this belt, if I win this championship, if I score this gig, I'll be set for life and then I'll be happy, versus kind of setting the goal as, like what you're doing is what brings you happiness, throughout the whole time. And then these little checkpoints, being able to enjoy it beforehand with the team, being able to enjoy it after. And then going back to what you were saying about the red tape. I mean, just now, Lion Fight happened this weekend, which for us, it happened like 2 hours ago. And Brett was defending his title, his North American title. Both of my opponents from Lion Fight, Chip Pollard was fighting. He just won a split decision. So congratulations to Chip. That was the biggest motherfucker of a fight I've ever had. And then on top of it, there was Brett, and he never got to fight because his opponent had a scar on his neck that the doctors found, and they can tell that it was spinal fusion. And that being a spinal fusion, they had to pull him from the fight. And yeah, so we'll see, months of training and everything leading up to the fight. So after months of preparation, you may or may not get paid depending what your opponent, whether he fulfilled his dues of getting his medicals done, and maybe perhaps even lying to a doctor of whatever is going on. Here we get to just move forward.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and like you said, back in the States, although they do their due diligence and make sure everyone's safe and that kind of stuff, there is a lot of uh overly cautious. But I guess it's a sport where you should be overly cautious, but it's just frustrating as a fighter sometimes, especially if you're the one who's ready to fight and then your opponent, for whatever reason, doesn't pass medicals, doesn't make weight, whatever it may be. That's your livelihood. I mean, you're getting paid to fight, and that's where most of your money is coming from. And like our buddy Chris Masseri, he's barely fought the past 2 years, and he's been on contract with Lion Fight, but one thing or another just keeps fucking falling through. And that's a big paycheck every single time that he's not able to make because of one mistake the promotion makes or one mistake his opponent makes, whatever it may be. And it can be really frustrating. Where here in Thailand, your opponent backs out the day of, they'll ask the stands, anybody want to fight? And usually you'll get somebody to jump in the fight, and you'll still be able to get paid that night, So it is kind of the Wild West out here in some ways, but it also is very liberating to be able to just not have to worry about all that shit and just worry about the fight itself.
Yeah, we had one of our teammates fight Engage as well. It was his first fight in Thailand. Gaga, his third fight overall. And yeah, that's another thing is like as a team, all these kind of inside jokes and moments that happen, like you walk out, the music is kind of wild. They'll play like Rocky music for Americans, but this time it's just really hardcore dubstep. And then they announce him as Gaga. He is the Beast Warrior. and within the fights, they're reminding you these are professional prize fighters. He is a beast. And man, these are just the things you're gonna laugh about for the next few years, and the moments that you're gonna hold together. And they build up excitement for everyone. You know what I mean? Like the Westerner that's there, the Thai fighter. And seeing your fight, I was really glad to see the slow motion clip of that uppercut just going right through his chin. Like those are usually, like you said, the ones that don't have resistance. Those are the ones that usually knock them out. Like I remember landing across as an amateur in one of my fights, and then you see me kind of freeze, and then I like get snapped back to reality that I just dropped my opponent because I didn't realize I even hit him. And it's because, the chin just doesn't resist at all, like when it's hit from the side versus the neck being behind it and kind of taking some of the blunt force and you feeling the impact back on your knuckles. But when it just goes right through and just shoots easily like that, that's a lot of impact going through the skull and the head shaking. So seeing it in slow motion and that chin just kind of twist to the side, his head go up, and just the way he fell, like his legs just going completely loose. Man, one, it's scary, but two, really happy to see it like that because, some of the fights here in Thailand, the guys get, if you give them too much of a fight, they take the fall, especially against the Westerner that may be bigger. I mean, you had the fight where you were matched properly, like you were the same exact size. Obviously, like the skill level was like you guys were going back and forth, and then just to see you dig deep and take the fight, I'm sure it made it a lot more rewarding.
Oh, dude, it's so much more rewarding when you have a hard fight and you win. Even when you have a hard fight, you lose. Like those are more rewarding than the easy wins that you get in the first round because of a mismatch or one thing or another. And yeah, it's kind of like a sadistic thing, but it's like when you knock someone out, it's this euphoric feeling that's hard to replicate, especially when you. Like I've won a couple of fights in like the later rounds via KO that were tough fights, and just having that definitive like decision, not going to the judges and knowing that I won that fucking fight is it's a high type of feeling that you can't replicate. And I'm sure all fighters who've won fights can kind of relate in the sense that you put in all this hard work and you make it to the fights, you deal with the anxiety, you deal with the nutrition, you deal with everything, and then you get to fight night, you have a hard fucking fight, and then in the later rounds you knock the dude out. It's hard to put into words, but it's just like a euphoric feeling that's hard, that you can't replicate anywhere else. And that's like the feeling I've been chasing for a while, since I got back in the ring. And although I'm not completely happy with my performance, I'm happy that I fucking won, and I won that way, because it's just it was like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, because I know I started slow in my pro career, and I feel like I'm building good momentum moving forward. And now that I'm here in Thailand and just focusing on fighting and life and business and Liz and my dog, it's just everything seems to be coming together. So like I said earlier, it's extremely grateful, and I'm excited for the second part of the camp to get started. You there, bro? Might have froze up a little bit. Here, Paul's in the other room, so I'm just gonna yell at him real quick. Paul, I think you froze up real quick. It's gonna do this. And then apologize for the technical inconvenience. Thailand internet is a little bit sketchy. Paul is frozen like a motherfucker. Hey, Paul, you're a little frozen right now, and I can't hear you. Okay. Meanwhile, I'll just keep talking a little bit. But yeah, so my fight, I guess I'll discuss that a little bit more in depth. So the first couple rounds, I felt good on the outside, exchanging punches, exchanging kicks, and I felt like I was really landing my jab almost at will. But he landed a couple of hard left kicks to my head and that kind of stuff, which made me a little bit more hesitant. Paul's back, but just discussing my fight a little bit.
The homies.
Hell yeah. But yeah, his left kick was really fucking hard, and it made me hesitate a little bit going in, but I felt my jab was landing a lot, and I wish I followed my jab up a little bit more with other combinations or a head kick or really anything. But I got a little too just in love with my jab in a way where I didn't think about doing anything besides that, and decided to start clinching me and pushing the pace forward. I felt like I tired out a little bit too much. Part of it is I started the fight a little bit too quickly in the first 2 rounds. Part of it is I was sick the week before, so I didn't get to train too much. But either way, I feel like I should have done better in that sense. And when it came to the clinch, it was this weird battle in my mind. Like, do I try to score points in the clinch, or do I try to reserve energy and let the ref break us up? And most of the time, I reverted to, I need to save energy. I'm fucking tired as hell. And I felt like I was losing the fight going into the fourth due to his kicking game and his kneeing game, and I was mainly landing my punches. And so in the fourth round, I knew I had to do something drastic. And fortunately, I just caught him with that uppercut. But it's a crazy fight. It was a fun fight, but live and learn. Live and learn.
I am going to try to connect to my hotspot.
It's a good idea. Ba, ba, ba. How's everyone doing out there? We got 8 viewers right now. Appreciate you watching this video right now. Because what is it? It's Sunday. No, it's Saturday night for y'all. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Get Paul back up in this bitch. All right, you good? All right. So yeah, why don't we transition into, I guess, the main topic, which is about saving money in Thailand that most people don't necessarily know about, and that can really extend your stay longer, make sure you're on budget, and just little tips and tricks that we've learned throughout our life and travels in Thailand. So, Paul, why don't you kick it off? Yeah, bitch. Paul? Again, apologies about the technical. I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you, man. Can you hear me?
Nope.
Motherfucker.
All right, that hotspot might have been a terrible idea.
I think Sanchez is the greatest of all time. That's what I think about Muay Thai or Sanchez, a fighter, Ronan. And he's a super cool dude. Really funny. I've met him a bunch of times. Sparred him. Real shit, dude. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's good.
There we go. All right. So what I was saying is, why don't we get into the main topic, which is covering about saving money tips in Thailand that you might not always hear about. And Paul and I have lived and traveled in Thailand quite a bit, so we have a couple like tips and tricks that might save you some money. So this way you can extend your stay, extend your budget, and just help, save a little money here and there. So why don't you kick it off, Paul?
Yeah, the first one is kind of straightforward, which is going to the Thai food and different establishments that are more Thai based versus the Western based. Starting raw from the beginning is just going to the parts of Thailand that are less invaded by tourism. So Chiang Mai just seems to be an area that is a good mix of long-term stays that are foreigners and Thais, but like more highly educated Thais. There's a lot of universities there, and prices there tend to be much lower. We have our friend Jack that's living there. He's training out of Team Quest, and he's paying 2,800 baht a month. So that's about $90-something a month for rent. Food right nearby, near the gym. Again, everything is in Thai, but some of them speak a little bit Neat Noi English, and it's about like 30 to 35 baht per meal versus just comparatively here on the island, it's about 50 to 80 baht for Thai food. And then if you go to a more like Western-based establishment, then Thai food can be anywhere from like 120 to 220 baht, which is like $4 to $7 versus paying, $1. Bangkok could be a huge mix because, you can have the really like Thai-based areas or the more Westernized parts. And then there's Phuket, which is even more expensive, and the little islands surrounding it like Krabi and Koh Lipe and places like that. But just anywhere you are, Thai food is always going to be about half the price, and just kind of molds into number two, which would be cell phone service. I just had a friend of mine that flew in. He ended up buying a SIM card at the airport. And, if you need to stay connected as you travel for the first 2 days, get, the 2-day SIM at the airport, which is great. But if you go to a Thai cell phone service center, so they're pretty much anywhere in Thailand, you just see a bunch of phones sitting on the counter and SIM cards. My girlfriend, Mia, she got 1 month unlimited data for 150 baht. So for $5, she got a month of unlimited data. And then it's like a special, but then after you pay 300. So it's about $10, $9 to $10 a month for the SIM service. So don't go for the places that are just right up front at the airport, selling you the SIM card. If you need to, just get the 1 to 3 day pass, and then from there just go to the Thai-based establishments, whether it's for food, SIM cards, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and then moving on from that is that transportation is, you got to get around Thailand one way or another, and depending on where you are in Thailand, there's different types of services. In the island we're at right now, there's song towels, which are essentially like pickup trucks where they get a bunch of people to drive in, and they can be relatively expensive. Like one trip to a different part of the island could be about 200, 250 baht. Meanwhile, you can rent a motorbike per day for that. And if you do that for a week or a month, it comes out even cheaper. And then you could also end up just buying a motorbike, especially if you're going to be here long term. You could buy up selling it just for about the same amount once you leave. And so you get a good return on your investment. When it comes to taxis in Bangkok, you want to make sure that they have their meter on. Sometimes they'll try not to have their meter on and just charge you a flat rate. And that's technically illegal. And so if a taxi does that, just get out and find another taxi. It's easy. But there's a bunch of apps. There's Grab Taxi app. There's I'm not sure if last time I was in Bangkok, Uber wasn't around. It was just Grab Taxi.
So there was Uber, but they had to connect with Grab Taxi for some legal reasons. They connected with Grab. So Uber and Grab are part of one. So you just have to use the Grab app for both.
There you go. Paul on top of the shit. He knows what's going on in Thailand. But yeah, in Bangkok, Grab Taxi is the way to go. Anywhere else, down a taxi and jump on in. If you're gonna get a motorbike, be safe. Not funny story, but like going over to do my morning meditation at the beach and stuff, and on the way back, I just see a guy sitting in the middle of the road with his motorbike on the side of the road, and he's just like sitting there. And so I went over to make sure he was okay, and this dude was wasted. Meanwhile, this is 6 o'clock in the morning, and he was all cut up and just bawling tears and wasn't making any sense. I had to pick him up and like carry him to the restaurant and stuff. And I'm glad he's okay, but it drives me crazy when people not only drive drunk, but drive a fucking motorbike drunk, where you're not even like protected by the four walls of a car. You have complete, like, you could hit a patch of dirt even when you're not drunk and take a spill and get seriously hurt. And so many people have died. And I think Koh Samui is one of the most dangerous places to ride a motorbike. So coming full circle, if you're going to ride a motorbike, be fucking safe. Try to get like your motorcycle license back in your home country, even take a couple private lessons, do something where you can be a little bit more comfortable driving the motorbike, and don't be reckless, because you can talk about saving money. You don't want to be going to a hospital to get a road rash tattoo from a motorbike accident on you, because that's going to end up costing you money. It's going to end up costing you time where you not be able to train, and time is money, yo. So yeah, make sure you're just safe as fuck when you're riding a motorbike and not doing anything too crazy. Yeah.
Continuing on with the Thai establishment, so it kind of shoots back to 1 and 2 because you brought up the costs of going to the hospital. Wherever you are, there is going to be a more like Thai-based hospital where they don't really have many English speakers. So it may be tough to get around, but especially if you're here in Thailand, you may make friends with some Thais, or you're in a Thai camp. So there's going to be Thai trainers that can take you to a more Thai-based clinic where they don't speak English, but the prices are astronomically lower, actually. So like it's going in for my nose when it was broken. I was going to pay something around $1,000 to have it fixed. And then when I went into the Thai clinic, I ended up being quoted $100. So it was literally 10 times the difference. So I could have either paid $100 or $1,000. And it is all just based on, who they're serving. They know they're serving Westerners. So, it may be a cleaner hospital, and they may have, English speaking doctors. However, you're going to pay a premium for that. And a lot of people pay for health insurance while they're abroad, which helps. Much of the time it may not be used, and I think it's a lot cheaper to go to the Thai hospital instead.
Yeah, I agree. And, with what you said, getting some type of health insurance while you're traveling would be highly advised. I mean, I know people who don't do it, and I've done it in the past as well, but it is taking a risk. And I mean, you can find pretty good, cheap travel insurance, travel health insurance. No, World Nomads is one. I use Regency for expats. And so just do your research, try to find something that was within budget. I think I paid $1,200 for the full year, and that covered basically everything. And it's funny too, because like if I wanted to get that same, if I wanted to add the US to that plan, it would be 4 times more. So like fuck that. I'm just not going to be
Yeah.
in the US at all, and I'm gonna make sure I don't do anything fucking stupid in the US. But yeah, travel health insurance is super important. And then moving on to the next one, number 4, when it comes to finding good accommodations that are also cheap and affordable, you're not going to find them online. I mean, maybe you will, maybe you'll get lucky, but more often than not, the best way to find the best deals is in person. Hire a motorbike, drive around, look for signs, talk to people, and you usually can find a really good deal. For instance, my house that I'm living in right now is a 2 bedroom. I'm paying 18,000 baht, which is about I don't know, was it like 500, six
Five
hundred
hundred
dollars
something dollars.
Yeah, something like that. And it's right near the gym. It's right near the beach. And if I wanted to stay at like a resort or a bungalow somewhere else, it's gonna this same house sure that when you arrive to Thailand, you can get a nice place for a couple nights if you wanted to, but then explore, find out where the best spots are, talk to local people, join forums on Facebook or on like Thai Visa or something. And this way you can kind of get a better inside look at what you should be looking for, what normal prices are. And like Paul said, if you wanted to really find cheap things, Northern Thailand's the place to go. Chiang Mai, Isan is a little bit more desolate, and there's not as much to do out there except for like train Muay Thai and shit. But it's super cheap out there, and it's just as cheap in Chiang Mai or Pai and that kind of spot too. So keep that in mind moving forward as well.
Yeah, I use the Agoda app whenever I'm kind of on quick travel and I know I don't want to waste the whole day kind of searching around. Like if I'm there for a month, of course, I'm going to rent a bike or just walk and talk to the Thai people to get the best deal. However, if I'm just there for like 3 days, like I was in Hua Hin, I'll just go on Agoda. The Agoda app is more of a, travel based app versus going to like hotels.com. They mostly list like the high end resorts first, and they don't list some of the smaller Thai based establishments. So going on Agoda, you can still get deals, places for $7, $8 a night, and they're pretty decent hotels. Like with AC, you can get probably for $10. Um, I looked at them before, and my friend just booked his hotel in Bangkok. So he flew in and he booked right next to the airport. That's what they're going to try to sell you at the airport. And he paid like $40. I had a friend of mine when I was in Chiang Mai, and they were staying at a Holiday Inn, and they paid something like $50, $60 in Chiang Mai. And of course, but I just pretty much went on Agoda and I said, well, there's a room that's the same exact room that you have in a Holiday Inn that you can stay, even in Old Town, which is a beautiful part of Chiang Mai, a historic district, and it was $8 a night. So they went from paying $40, $50 a night to paying $8, $9 a night.
And the thing that's really easy to get caught up in is like, yo, 40, $50 a night, that's cheap as fuck compared to like
Yeah.
back in the States, you know? But the thing is, it can be even cheaper. And if you wanted to really, I mean, you just want to be smart with your money. I mean, that's when it really comes down to. It doesn't matter whether you're traveling, whether you're at home, whatever. In order to, I mean, talking grander scale, if you want to do big things in your life, you have to have your shit on tight with your money. And so spending unnecessary money when you could be getting the same type of hotel for a quarter of the price, even less, it just doesn't make sense. So doing that little bit of extra research, a little bit of extra looking around to make sure that you're not leaving any stones unturned is going to be super key, especially if you want to live in Thailand long term. You got to save money where you can. And that comes with accommodation, that comes with the food, that comes with a couple other things that we're going to be discussing soon, because long term stays are obviously a little bit more difficult, especially if you're just doing it based off your savings, or if you're teaching English, you're not going to be making too much money. You'll make enough money to get by, but it'll be really important to have some type of budget. Otherwise, it's really easy to lose sight of what you're spending your money on. And in Thailand too, like it's like monopoly money. You're like, oh, 30 baht for that? Like that's nothing. But then you just start spending money like it's nothing because it all is so cheap. And then before you know it, like this guy Clayton, who's at our camp right now, he was like, yo, I was expecting to spend like this much money, but I ended up spending 6 times more just because everything was so cheap. I ended up getting 6 times more of everything and really balling out. I was like, yeah, it's really easy to do that, especially because you're like, oh, everything's so fucking cheap. I'm just going to buy everything. So just keep that in mind if you ever come to Thailand as well.
Yeah, it's just the lifestyle, because it's what you make it and what you routinely do. And I've been able to go into both, where I was just eating, the 30 baht meal and just getting the water that's at the restaurant and refilling waters and things like that, versus like going into 7-Eleven. And I mean, the difference is you're like, oh, it's like a 50-cent difference. Who cares? But then you make that into a routine. Then you go to these rooftop places where you're like, man, back home, if I wanted to take a lady out to a rooftop dinner, it costs you, hundreds of dollars, 100 at least. Here you can be on a beachfront and, you go to a nicer place where you can even get dressed up and have a beautiful date for, $10 a plate or less, $6, $7 for a nice plate. And you're like, man, $14 and I have this beautiful date versus spending 100 back home. Let me take advantage of this. And then you start doing it every single meal or every single day. And then that 14 versus 1, just think about that long term. If you're spending $14 versus spending maybe $3 long term, you can either stay here for 3 months or you can stay here for a year. And that's what I started to think when I was seeing Jack. He was one of the campers at Koh Samui when we were in Thailand Training Camp. He also stopped by here before. And then I was looking at how much he was paying for rent. So like, let's say 4,000 baht, or I can stay somewhere else where I'm paying, let's say 15,000. I'm like, okay, so I can make this money last 1 month, or I can make this money last 5 months. There's pros and cons to both, and live it like pretty much living standards, but I'd rather make it a long-term commitment and, have a little less until I make more money, let's say online, and I can get to a place where affording the $500 a month would be, realistic for me.
Yeah, it all depends on your goals and how long you want to be in Thailand. If you're going to be here for a month, I mean, doing like one of these training camps and stuff, then obviously your budget's going to be slightly different than if you're going to try to be here for a year. And so you just have to do your planning, do your budgeting, do all that kind of stuff. It's funny with like what you were saying, like you can either spend 30 baht on a meal or 150 baht. And when people ask me like, oh, how much spending money should I bring for my month in Thailand? I'm like, yo, it depends on your spending habits, man. It depends on like how willing you are to eat, to drink the water that you have to go refill your water every single day, or you're going to buy bottles of water. Like, because say you spend 30 baht a meal, 3 meals a day, that's 90 baht. Or you spend 150 baht a meal for 3 times a day, that's 450 baht. So it's either 90 baht, which is $3, or 450 baht, which is like $15. So over time, over a month, that shit adds up quickly. That's $30, or I think $30 compared to, I don't know, math is not my strong suit, to a lot fucking more, So it's just a matter of whether or not
it's $90 versus $450. You can look at it that way.
Yeah. We need Paul with his mathematician skills. But when it really comes down to it, you just have to be disciplined if you want to be here long term. So speaking of long term things, like Paul was saying, if you want to save money, the water refill stations are going to be super important. And there's also like water delivery. So at Diamond Muay Thai, at the coffee shop, they have like these huge water buckets, or bottles rather, which are like, I don't know, I want to say like 4 or 5 gallons maybe, and they're 20 baht. And what Liz and I do is we buy that, and then we fill up all of our water bottles back at home we have, and that saves a lot of money right there. Or you can go down to the local like 7-Eleven, which sometimes they have a water refill station. You refill your water for 1 baht. It's simple stuff like that that really makes a big difference long term. And then also, like we mentioned your own, or mentioning a little bit before. Actually, I don't think we mentioned that, but food is cheap in Thailand. But food is even cheaper if you make your own food, and that's just like a universal rule. And some of the food that you can buy, like at Macro or our local food stalls and that kind of stuff, I mean, you can save a lot of money just by cooking your own food, making eggs in the morning, cooking your own rice, that kind of shit. I mean, it's all really cheap, but if you really want to be even cheaper, I mean, I typically cook 1 or 2 meals per day, and I only eat out once or twice a day, depending on the thing. So you just have to really think long and hard about how long you want to stay, how you want to live, and yeah, what your ultimate goals are when it comes down to living in Thailand.
Yeah, the food I almost couldn't make sense of. I'm like, okay, so if I'm paying, let's say $1.50, $2 a meal, how am I going to save money by cooking? Like, it's almost not worth the effort of cooking. Like when someone else can do it for me and I'm only paying $1.50, $2 a meal. But then, or how they even make a profit, I couldn't understand until I went to the supermarket and we were cooking a dinner for the team. And I swear I spent like $4 on everything to cook for 8 people, like it. So that $1.50, it can even go down to like maybe 40 cents per meal versus $1.50, because you can buy just kilograms bags of chicken for just a couple baht. Like you can make 10 meals out of like what that one meal that you're spending money on is. So you just have to compare it, and until you go in person, you won't feel it.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, anything else we need to cover about living cheaply in Thailand and saving a little bit of money?
I think a lot of people just talk about, what can I do to be out there for long term, and a lot of people save a lot of money to get to Thailand. They save ahead of time, and then they just make it last for a long time. So again, if you break it down to living on 300 baht a day versus buying every meal at 150, having a more expensive bike, having a more expensive apartment, you can maybe live here for 3 months versus living here for a year and going back, to save money again. But there are people like Austin who has been following the journey, and I've been talking to him as well, like through private message. And I mean, he is just committed, and both him and his lady are doing the route of teaching English. So, a lot of people just don't want to do things because they feel like they're not significant enough. But everything is kind of like relevant to where you are, like, okay, maybe you're only getting paid $10, $15 an hour, but in Thailand, that's getting you a lot further. So, and then eating cheaper on top of it, you could live like a king, making a couple dollars an hour, making only $10, $15 an hour, and then paying much less for the food. So I think at the end of the month, you can even be able to save money. So yeah, I would suggest saving money, having a plan to supplement some of the costs while you live here, keeping the costs down really low. And I think you can make this long-term stay happen. I mean, a lot of the people that are coming here, I don't know any people that are actually wealthy that are living this type of lifestyle here. So a lot of them are people that don't have much, and they just grind it away and they figure things out once they're here and passing on, like exchanging skill sets. We have someone here that's exchanging the skill set of doing video work, photography, in exchange for some of the costs that come with living in Thailand.
Yeah, developing your skills as a freelancer is always very beneficial because you can do that anywhere in the world. But to answer one of Austin's questions, he was asking, so cooking meals is way cheaper than local Thai food places. I wouldn't say it's way cheaper, but it's cheaper. So it depends on like how much you value your time cooking the meals as opposed to just going out and getting your meals made for you. But it depends on how tight of a budget you want to be. But typically speaking, like I'll eat breakfast Like I'll have oatmeal and bananas and that kind of shit. And that's really fucking cheap. And then when it comes to like midday, my second breakfast, I guess you could say, is like I have eggs and toast and avocado, which is also super cheap as opposed to going out to buy something like that. So experiment with it. You have to kind of, for the first month I was here, I recorded everything I spent my money on, from laundry to food to massages to motorbike gas, all that kind of stuff. This way I could have a really good understanding of where my money's going, where I can save money, and where I can just do a little bit better. So that's another recommendation I would give you, is like document shit. Create like a Google spreadsheet that you can go on your phone and just every single day write down what money you're spending on what. And then at the end of the week, go over it, see how much money you spent, see where you can make a couple adjustments, and then just take it from there. And then it's all good.
All right, guys. Thank you for interacting throughout the podcast. As this camp is finishing and we're going into the next month, we're going to be a little bit refreshed. So we'll be bringing out more content, some tutorial videos that are coming from here. So make sure to follow both mine and Muay Thai Guys channels on YouTube, on Facebook, on the websites. And on top of that, we're looking to create the next experience and kind of want your input. So we're looking at a couple of options. The island here is rather busy during the time of February. So booking an entire resort like we did this time may be difficult. However, it may be possible. So we're just looking whether you would like a more group-based experience where you get to do a lot of stuff on your own as well, where you're in a resort, you have your own room, you're kind of away from people, but together at the same time, and you have the option of doing everything. Or would you like a more intimate experience where it's more of a lifestyle change, where we put everything together, where we're all in the same villa, kind of how we were for the few days that we were in Samui. And then it's going to be a more intensive, let's say 2 weeks. So versus a month, it would probably be two 2-week sections, or 1 2-week section where we do a lot of goal planning. We do it as a team. We do most things as a team. There's going to be a lot of accountability, and it's going to be pushing each other and challenging each other, versus here it is more on your own. Like we had some campers that were there every single day for training. Then we had some guys that after a few days kind of weaned off and ended up, not coming home a few nights, and we had to
took over.
in Thailand. Bangkok got them. Thailand had them. Yeah. So, this is more of this experience is great. And there's a lot of personal attention from the trainers, and we have some beautiful memories as a team, but everyone is, entitled to each their own, versus a more accountable experience where it's more of a lifestyle change, and it's going to be a lot more intensive, a lot more intimate. And, we would just live in a baller ass villa and, put all this together for you. So are you looking for the more intimate experience? Are you looking for the more, like kind of balanced experience that's going to be a little more lengthy, being in a resort for a month? Just reach out to Sean at nakmuaynation.com, or Paul at muaythaiathlete.com. Message either one of us on any social media channels. We usually get back rather quickly. So just Instagram, Facebook, wherever you can message us. Email is always best, but we want to know your input. Anything else from you, Sean?
No, you pretty much covered it. Yeah, let us know what you think. We're excited to do another event. These events, it's funny. I always talk about this with the groups that I end up hosting, but I never thought to do training camps or retreats like these before. And these are by far the most rewarding and best things that have come from Muay Thai Guy, because they are really life-changing events. And whenever people come to these, like a day or two after they arrive, they're like, yo, I got to figure out a way to come back. Like,
yes.
This is like too good to be true. So yeah, we're really grateful to be able to do this. And like I said earlier on the podcast, I'm really grateful that people choose our camps and events over the thousands of other camps that they have to choose from. But we really try to make this an immersive group atmosphere type of experience, and we get to show you parts of the island and our favorite friends, and really just bond as a group. We rented the villa and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're just really excited to set something up in February. So let us know what you think in regards to that. You can always go to muaythaivacation.com to find out about upcoming events and training camps. And on that, yeah, just keep following along. We'll be putting out more content, like Paul said, via video, via podcast, via all that kind of shit. So just stay tuned because we just getting started, baby.